I realize I'm in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now. So before my final nail gets put in my cancel culture casket, I think I'd like to set the record straight on so many of the blatant lies that are out there.
Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers is going to show you how to dig a deeper hole.
It was a very, witch hunt that was going on across the league.
And hit all the buzzwords in the process.
I'm 48 hours in, and I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended in his podcasts and, on the phone to me, and I'm going to have the best immunity possible. I'm thankful for people like Joe stepping up and using their voice. I am somebody who's a critical thinker.
You sure?
I've been taking monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, zinc, vitamin C and D, HCQ.
To add on to this walking Facebook post,
the great MLK said that you have a moral obligation to object to unjust rules and rules that make no sense. In my opinion, it makes no sense for me.
Rodgers compares himself to Martin Luther King.
I have an allergy to an ingredient that's in the mRNA vaccines. So those two were out already. So my only option was Johnson & Johnson. And then in mid-April, the J&J shot got pulled for clotting issues. So the J&J shot was not even an option at that point.
What Rodgers leaves out is the number of cases. 6.8 million shots administered of the J&J. 6 cases total showed blood clots. As for pulling, Yale Medicine infectious disease specialist Jamie Meyer rebukes Rodgers, saying putting a pause on a new vaccine or medication is not unusual, even after it has completed its clinical trials. A vaccine still must be monitored in the real world. Dr. Meyer adds the blood clots have been very rare and unusual. On his point about taking ivermectin, a touted drug of famed anti-vax podcaster Joe Rogan, Dr. Krutika Kapali, an assistant professor at the Medical University of South Carolina, said there is no evidence that ivermectin is effective for treatment. Ivermectin is approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to treat certain kinds of parasites and neglected tropical diseases, including scabies and parasitic worms. It is not approved to treat any viruses.
Why do people hate ivermectin? Not just because, Trump championed it. Because it's cheap generic. Can't make any money off it. But it's been used 1 billion times in India. Go look at that research.
Okay, Aaron, let's do it. The Indian Council of Medical Research and the National Task Force on COVID-19 have dropped the use of ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine drugs from their revised guidelines for the treatment of the infection. The decision was taken after experts found that these drugs have little to no effect on COVID-related mortality or clinical recovery of the patient. Now Rodgers speaks of vaccinated versus unvaccinated via the NFL protocols.
But 10 days off regardless, where a vaccinated person just has to have 2 back-to-back negative tests.
2 things. First, Rodgers is not telling the whole truth. NFL protocol call for the positive individual will be permitted to return to duty after 2 negative tests, at least 24 hours apart. He didn't mention this. Why? Probably to support his argument. Vaccinated people do transmit the virus in some cases, but the data are super crystal clear that the risk of transmission for a vaccinated individual is much lower than for an unvaccinated individual, said Christopher Byron Brook, who holds a BA in biology, a PhD in microbiology and immunology, and more.
That is what the media has been trying to do. They're trying to shame and out and cancel all of us non-vaccinated people, call us selfish.
The victimhood is next level.
Has any member of the health staff this entire time got up and actually talked about real health? Have they talked about exercise, a healthy diet, like eating real food, drinking water, taking vitamins.
Aaron, in his master researching, must have missed this one. While being healthy and exercising is good for your immune system, there's no evidence to show that this alone is a guarantee that you will have no problems if you get COVID. In fact, real-world data would provide plenty of evidence of severe disease, hospitalization, and indeed deaths in young, fit, healthy people. Professor Christine Lasher, immunologist at Dublin City University, told Reuters.
I wear my mask when I go out in public, The only time I haven't worn my mask is when I'm around all vaccinated people.
Well, that's just not true, Aaron, and you know it. He hung out with Miles Teller not just in Hawaii, but also in a group with none other than AJ Hawk, co-host of McAfee's show you've been watching, at the Kentucky Derby. Teller is unvaccinated. How do we know? As we brought to you yesterday, Teller refused the vaccine, brought the coronavirus to a movie set, and shut down the project. The crew were exposed because of Teller's lunacy.